put your album on for this dude because I'm a crazy music fan, and
cool.
I love Prayers too.
Yeah,
by the way.
Awesome.
And he's like, that's Kat's voice?
Well, you got to figure, I've been watching you forever. You know,
Right.
LA Inc., Miami Inc. I've
Yeah.
seen you on it all, and it's just like, wait, that's her? Like, I had no idea. It sounds great.
Oh,
It sounds
thank you.
incredible, but I'm just like, I would have never guessed. If you wouldn't have told me who this was, I would, I don't.
I think when I announced that I was going to come out with music, a lot of people were expecting it to be like metal or, more in the rock world. Cause I love metal. I've always been in that world. But I also love a lot of like the analog synthesizer sounds of the 80s, and I love Depeche Mode and
Depeche Mode, yeah,
Cure,
for sure.
Susie and the Banshees, all that stuff. So yeah, I think naturally, my voice kind of lives in that world versus like I can't sing like a lot of my favorite metal bands. I was like, I'm not even gonna try.
I'll also ask because I saw her live a couple of times, and I saw her perform with Pink when Pink opened for Lenny Kravitz. Working with Linda Perry.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, she's cool. I mean, I've known Linda a really long time. I think she actually lives around the corner from here.
Oh,
Yeah, she really helped me, especially in the beginning, because I've been first of all, I was brought up on classical music, so I started playing piano when I was 5 years old, which not a lot of people know that. So music has always been kind of the driving force of everything that I love, and then it wasn't until later on when I wanted to write music, and I really had to break away from the structure of classical music because it's all about perfection and accuracy, and whereas I think one of the big lessons that I learned from Linda was like to break away from that and be okay with it being imperfect.
Right.
And I love that. I mean, when you listen even to some of the tracks that I've written, some of the vocal takes, like we picked the ones where I do crack and where there's that like human fingerprint, and I think there's like a beauty in the imperfection. So
do you think that's kind of been lost a little bit in music with the move from like you said, the analog, and people give me shit because I still like records. And it's like,
me too.
And it's not, they're like, oh, because you say it sounds better. No, it doesn't sound better, but there is something tangible about it. It's like you almost get to be a part of the art and the artist, and there's that physical thing, the needle hitting the record.
And it actually does sound better, depending on your system, I guess. But yeah, I think that there is something lost in music. And, I think there's something for everybody, obviously. Like some people like auto-tune or, like kind of robotic approach to music, whereas my synth player, he always talks about like how our music is like we're trying to put a soul into a robot, and so you have like the best of both worlds. You have like the computer aspect, but then you also have the soulfulness of like the human fingerprint. So yeah, I don't know, I think music is cool in that way that it can go in any direction and there's something for everybody, but I'm definitely more particular about my music and the stuff I listen to. I don't really listen to a lot of like modern day groups. I don't think most of
I don't either.
Yeah.
I'm so stubborn with my music. He knows. So when we make our drives and whatnot, he knows what I want to listen to, and it's just like he'll play his stuff, and then he just automatically puts on the Chili Peppers because he knows that's what, or like Guns N' Roses or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah,
now we're good. But you were talking about cracks and imperfections, and the first thing that came to my head was "Gimme Shelter" when she was singing "Ray Murder" and her voice cracked. That like it gives me chills every time because it fits so perfectly, and it's like more passion in it, so I love it. I know exactly what you mean.
I love that too. Yeah.
Did you, in the actual songwriting process, because when you're classically trained, you learn chord structure.
Yeah,
and
it's a different
else.
language. Yeah.
Whereas like rock music, some of my favorite bands, they broke like rules. It's like,
of course.
Yeah, you're not supposed to go to that chord, but if we only play like a fifth power chord, we can.
Yeah.
Did you have that approach?
No, I mean, it was all just about feeling, and I think that, like, I mean, one of the reasons I think I fell in love so much with metal was because I did come from that classical music background, and like when you listen to metal, like a riff on a guitar is so similar to like a scale on a piano, and so I loved being able to admire the musicians, because prior to that I was listening to like a lot of punk rock music, it was just like power chords, and which is cool. I think there's time and place for that too, but it wasn't anything that like. It didn't feel like there was that much magic behind it, magic in the sense that when you listen to something, you're like, wow, how did they do that? Or that must have taken years to master, and that's why I loved heavy metal music, but then after that I discovered like post-punk, and then it married all of my favorite things, which was like lyrics and different chord progressions and instrumentation. You know, there was like almost symphonic aspect to it as well. And I'm a hopeless romantic, so I love poetry, so that really spoke to me. But yeah, I think music's cool in that way. Yeah.
It is. It's the universal language.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I gotta ask too, with how now, I mean, because you've been doing music all your life, like since you were 5.
Yeah.
Did it seem like now that you're long term in your sobriety? We met your beautiful son. Yeah. You welcomed us into your beautiful home and all the wonderful people that are here.
I got lost like 4 times already.
I paint a picture.
I was trying to find the card. I'm like, it's big house problems. I couldn't find my way out of here.
I thought you meant
this
my
is how
room.
every...
No, not you. I meant in the house. I got lost.
Like, this is how every horror movie starts.
Okay, so I knew it was going to end this way.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on these house.
I dig it. I love architecture. Actually, initially never mind. This is about you, not me.
No, I love it.
So was it something that like, hey, I'm long enough now in my sobriety, you know, your husband, your awesome son, that it was like, it's time to put something out?
Yeah. I mean, I actually wrote that album over 10 years ago, and I've been sober 14 years. So I started writing, you know, shortly after I got sober. And I think that like, it's interesting because you know, I know sobriety is not for everybody. I know some people can hang with having like drinks on the weekend and it doesn't affect them the way that it does to an addict like me. But like, I really felt the power of my sobriety like soon after I stopped drinking and doing drugs. Like I became far more productive, and I was already being productive, like surprisingly productive while I was wasted. But it's like, you know, instead of just tapping into constant darkness, it was more about being inspired. And when you have a clear head, I like, for me, I just feel like it really played a huge role in making everything that I do, but especially the music, because I don't think, you know, like you said, I've been playing music all my life, but it wasn't really until after I got sober that it felt like, okay, like, I have a clear intention of what I want to do.
Sure.
And I, you know, I always say like, I would be nothing without my sobriety, because like I wouldn't be an awesome wife, an awesome mom, or an artist. Like I probably wouldn't show up for this interview, you know,
right.
Or if I did, I'd be hungover, you know.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, so it's like I always say like sobriety's first before anything, but for me at least.
Did that really help the bond with Raphael?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, my husband, I actually met him years and years ago when I wasn't sober. And I don't really remember it very clearly. He remembers it a lot better than I do. But I always say that it's so great that we got to meet at my worst, you know, like, and he still loved me and saw the goodness in me, you know, and he waited around, you know, and obviously we kind of had different life paths. Like, you know, I think he, you know, ended up, you know, he opened up a restaurant and then did the music stuff much later. And then we didn't really connect until, you know, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago when he was working on a record and wanted me to sing on it. And then
Black Leather, right?
Yeah. And so it was interesting because like he was completely different than the last time that I saw him. And it's cool. I think like we had to grow up a lot, like in order to like reconnect at a better time. And it's, you know, I think like the first time where I learned that he actually had feelings for me, like he came over and then we haven't been separated since. So
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Like I think that I don't think that I could be with somebody that wasn't on the same page. Sure. You know, not to discriminate, but it's like there's a certain language that comes with sobriety and like a certain way of life that like I didn't understand it until I became sober. I actually used to make fun of it all the time. Like, oh God, you have to go to AA, or you have to, you know, when's the step where you don't have to take a step anymore, you know, like, and because I didn't understand it, you know, and then obviously I got super out of control and found my way. But I think that that's something that bonds Raphael and I together. He's been like straight edge for much longer than I have. And I don't think he dealt with like addiction in the same way that I did, as far as like I literally lost myself to it. Whereas for him, I think he dabbled a lot, and then he was like, this isn't for me, you know, and it was easier. It was simpler for him, you know? Right.